Hello and welcome to the RPG Academy podcast YouTube channel, Twitch channel, page, thingy. I'm Michael. I'm doing a stream test. I've been having a lot of issues with my internet here at the new house, and frankly, I haven't been able to stream directly, but I've been doing some speed tests the last few days, and it seems like our speed has actually increased a little bit. I still don't know that if it's enough to actually maintain a stream, so I thought I would do a little test run just for a few minutes. I was sharing some of my comic collection on Twitter, and a couple people seem to be kind of interested in that. So I thought I would just spend a few minutes, go through some of my old comics, and then kind of test the stream at the same time. So I'm going to see if I can actually... Nope. I am not good at this at all. Nope. This is the part that's so frustrating. There we go. I want to make me a little small. So this was just out here to make sure the camera was in the right place. So beside me here, I have a long box of comics, and I'm just going to pull out a few and share. So I started collecting comics in like the mid 80s. That was right around the time that I was just at the age where collecting comics was the thing you did when you were a big nerd like I am. And so I have quite a few comics from that era, some of which are valuable, some of which are not, most of which I would say are not. So I did collect Secret Wars because I was a kid in the 80s and that's what you did. Apparently I don't have all of them. So the first Secret Wars I have is episode 6. Now, as a kid, I loved Secret Wars. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I have since learned the tragic truth of what Secret Wars really was. It was basically like a focus group figured out that young boys love the word secret and they love the word wars, and that making a Secret Wars comic book would probably be very profitable. But I just loved having all the characters together. It was just like the coolest thing in the world. It's like playing with your action figures. You know, you can have Doctor Doom fighting Spider-Man, not just the Fantastic Four, and a Dr. Octopus not fighting Spider-Man, that kind of thing. So I absolutely loved the Secret Wars. I haven't read it in a very long time. I have no idea if it would actually hold up or not. So I have issues. This is 8. This is the first appearance of the Spider-Man symbiote. Obviously, this becomes very important later. Introduces Venom, and then from there, Carnage. And I think, again, I lost track of comics after that, but I think even from beyond that. But this was a big deal. Even before we knew what it was, Spider-Man getting a new costume on an alien world was super cool, and I loved it. You can see the price tag here. I paid $2 for this comic. I must not have gotten this one during the original run. I probably picked it up at a comic store. I live in Corbin, Kentucky again these days. It's not far from where I originally grew up. And there was this bookstore called Helen's Bookstore. Anybody in Corbin in the 80s probably knew of it. It was just this lady who was like, I don't know, 107 years old. And it was like her garage was converted, and it just held like 4 tables of comics. She sold Magic the Gathering cards, that kind of thing. Wasn't very friendly, to be honest with you, though I'm guessing she probably got tired of little doofuses like myself coming in there and rummaging around through all the comics. But that's where I bought most of my comics that wasn't from, I think Walgreens is where I bought them. It was a pharmacy, I know. They got comics every Wednesday, and me and my friend Brandon would go and buy our new comics there. But if we wanted older issues or something that wasn't just coming out, Helen's Bookstore in Corbin was the place to go. So it looks like I have 9, 10, 11, and then 12. So I have about half of the original Secret Wars. These comics are not in any real specific order. I have 2 long boxes and 2 short boxes left from all my comics collecting days. And I just grabbed one of the long boxes out to do this with. So I don't, I have a pretty idea of what I have in my collection, even though I haven't really looked at it in like legitimately 20 years. but they're not in any specific order. I think they're kind of like an alphabetical, but it's obviously not going to be alphabetical. So it looks like there's a couple people watching. I think one of them is me because I'm testing the stream. But if you are there, say hello, throw something in the chat, and please let me know, is the stream working? Like, the content may be boring as crap. I understand that. Mostly what I'm trying to do is to see if this will actually let me stream, because we normally do a live show for the RPG part of our podcast every other week, and I haven't been able to do that in months because my internet sucks so bad. So hopefully this is working. Wolverine, I mean, come on. He's still one of, if not the most popular X-Men. Definitely got oversaturated for a long time, but needless to say, I loved Wolverine, and in the early 80s, mid 80s, if you liked Wolverine, there was a lot to love. So I was a big fan, I think I mentioned with the Secret Wars, of bringing the different comics together. So Marvel Comics Presents was pretty much designed for people like me that would bring characters together. Like, I know that the first instance of Hulk meeting Wolverine is a big deal, and it's probably one of the more valuable comics that I could have had. I don't have that one. So they would come up with Marvel Comic, and I'm being very cynical here, I know, but they would put it like Marvel Comic Presents, and they would team these characters up and make you think, oh, well, this is the same thing again, but of course it's not. So Marvel Comic Presents Wolverine, have the Incredible Hulk. We have another Wolverine Incredible Hulk. We have more Marvel Comics Presents, Wolverine and Ghost Rider, Wolverine and Ghost Rider, Wolverine and Ghost Rider. Marvel Comics Presents Weapon X, the origins of Wolverine. People were clamoring for years. I think this has probably been retconned like 5 times, so I have no idea if it's actually still accurate to what the origin is or not. But I thought it was super cool. Do I have, yeah. Some of these I bought multiple copies because I thought I was an investor and that I was spending good money investing in comics that would pay dividends years and years later. So let's take a quick detour here. And I'm going to quickly look to see how much this comic is worth. Issue 84. So it was $1.25 when I bought it at the newsstand. And it looks like if it's in excellent condition, about $4. And mine is clearly not in excellent condition. I mean, they're not in bad condition. They're readable, but, this one doesn't even have a board. Some of mine do have boards. This one does not. So you be the judge. Was that a good investment? $1.25. It's probably, it hasn't devalued, so I guess that's a plus, right? So the other side of that would be the Marvel 2-in-1, which is again where they would mishmash different characters together. Basically, they were team ups, and I loved these. So I have a whole bunch of these. So we got The Thing and Shang-Chi, which is actually relevant now because they're working on a Shang-Chi movie, which is super cool. Probably goes without saying that I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Thing and Spider-Woman. The Thing and a Mystery Menace. The Thing and Doctor Strange. The Thing and the Human Torch. Starhawk, which is from Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think there's an equivalent yet in any of the movies. Here Lies Adam Warlock. The Thing in Triton, which I think is a bad guy, right? Scarlet Witch. There's Guardians of the Galaxy. So this must be, essentially this is like the OG Guardians of the Galaxy. It's kind of hinted in the second movie with Sylvester Stallone. Yondu is in this comic, but he's no longer part of that original group. And I cannot remember the name, but this is the sort of crystal guy here is actually the character that was played by Michael Rosenbaum, who plays Lex Luthor in Smallville. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I've been doing a complete rewatch of Smallville recently, so that's just top of mind. The Thing and a Mystery. Thing and Mr. Fantastic, that's a bit of a cheat. I mean, they're always together, right? The Inhumans. So, new movie from Marvel Cinematic Universe, currently in development. Kumail Nanjiani, got jacked to play something in that movie. Puppet Master and Iceman. All right. So I'm going to dig through here and pull out a few. Oh, no, Thing and Spider-Man. That's always a good one. All right, so I actually want to talk just a quick second about this one. Whoops. Sorry, my microphone cord is bothering me. There we go. So this is this is an issue that, again, I probably, let's see. I'm going to see when I bought this one. Oh, this one's not in a bag, so I'll use this one. Let's see, when was this published? I need my reading glasses. 1983. So this comic is 37, 83, 17 plus 20, 37 years old. I paid 60 cents for it, and I probably have not read this comic in easily 20 years, probably closer to 30. I mean, I doubt I've read it since I was 15. And I still remember this comic. I don't know why exactly this one stuck with me, but it certainly has. The story here is Ben Grimm is in the hospital. And I believe this is after his second confrontation with the Hulk. This one being the Gray Hulk, I believe. So, because that was a big thing for the long time, is who was stronger, who was tougher, Ben Grimm as the Thing or Hulk. So they built up to an issue where they fought and Hulk won pretty handily, from what I remember. And the Thing always was up for a rematch. So there was a period of time where he got like super jacked, like something happened, he got dosed with cosmic rays again, and he became even stronger. And then the Gray Hulk was not nearly as strong as Green Hulk. So they had a rematch. I mean, it wasn't really a rematch, but it was a rematch, you know what I mean? And Ben Grimm thought for sure he was going to win, but in this case, the Gray Hulk just outthought him, kind of did like a rope-a-dope, and wore the Thing out and then was able to beat him, putting him in the hospital. Now, why they put him in a public hospital, I don't know. But the idea of this comic is that the Thing has a ton of enemies, and him being virtually helpless in a hospital was going to mean that all of these villains would probably be gunning for him, trying to take him out in his vulnerable state. And all these other heroes are running interference, keeping these various bad guys away. And I can't even remember the name of the villain. It's like a super smart villain who can calculate the odds. And if I remember correctly, and I promise you this, I did not set this up because it's not nearly, it would not be worth a setup. I believe like the last panel or so is that villain sneaking in and having a beer with the Thing and just basically talking to him, just sort of hanging out with him. Okay. Ooh. Trying to be on mic and show this on camera. It's not as easy as I would have liked. I don't even remember who that, I guess Banshee. Let's see here. Huh. I wonder if this is a part 2 or there's an advertisement here. Yeah, that's really weird. The bullpen bulletins and then the advertisement isn't on the last page. So it looks like it's Sandman, actually. Oh, so the Sandman breaks in and has a beer with the Thing. So I kind of remembered it. It wasn't 100%. If I remember now, being refreshed, the super smart villain was just saying that the odds of nobody getting to Ben Grimm were really low. So obviously some villain was going to get in there But the shocking twisting part was that that person didn't kill him when they got in there. They just wanted to hang out, have a beer. All right, New Mutants. That one seems to be a bit out of order. All right. So again, looks like someone's jumped in. I have no idea if this is going to be entertaining or not. Mostly I'm doing a stream test to see if my internet will sustain this. But I thought I'd go through some of my old comics. I haven't looked at these in like 25 years. I collected them in the early 80s. I'm just kind of going through them. But hello there, Gygar68. Yeah, so these are some comics. I was an avid collector in the early 80s, and I haven't looked at these comics in years. So I just thought as a stream test, it'd be kind of fun to maybe just pull them out and kind of go through them. So there was a kind of a stretch there where some of the new indie creators were coming out, like Rob Liefeld, I remember, and just these new heroes, these new teams were being created. People were trying to launch their own, which I'm all for that. I don't know that if many of these actually made it anywhere. So we got Punisher, Final Days. All right, Quasar. So some of these are bagged. It's like this one, you can see there. It might be hard to tell on the camera, but it is in a bag. Some of them are boarded. The reason they're not all bagged and boarded is because, again, I have not touched these in 25, maybe 30 years, and I was a 12-year-old kid when I bought them. So the fact that even most of them are bagged, kind of a miracle. I had this thing about Quasar, and I don't know exactly what it was, but I really liked Quasar. My best friend Brandon, he and I, obviously I've talked about before, he collected comics with me. He collected the ones that were worth something. I collected the ones that were dumb. Always made fun of me, but I thought Quasar was cool. I don't know why. It was just something about him. But I thought Quasar was awesome. So there was a series that came out in the 80s, obviously Quasar, and I collected most of them. I don't think I have the entire run. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see here. Thanos and Galactus. Yeah, there we go. Now, again, I sometimes I would buy 2 copies because I thought I was smart and I was investing. I was actually trying to get comics I thought would be valuable, and I probably thought having Thanos and Galactus on the cover meant something. Or it could also be that I'm dumb and I didn't realize that I had already bought them. And yep, here's again, double that one. Okay. DP7. Got to talk a little bit about DP7. DP7 is one of my absolute favorite comic runs. And I'm sure if I were to read it again today, I would probably be laughing at how bad it is. But this was part of the new universe that was, again, launched early to mid 80s. And it was just a whole bunch of new heroes. They weren't connected to the canon of Spider-Man or Captain America. In fact, in the DP7 universe, Spider-Man was a comic character. They referenced once. There was like a poster on the wall, but he wasn't a real person that actually interacted. And I don't know, there was something about that comic I really, really loved. The idea of normal people, quote unquote, normal people getting superpowers and becoming heroes. And it felt more... It didn't feel like it was a comic book. It really felt like just random people getting powers and all the crazy stuff that would happen. But they did a crossover with Quasar, who I also loved for some reason. So the new universe had already died. It only lasted for like 30 issues, and then they all fall apart. So this was like an after the fact. New universe was dead, but Quasar showed up and did a crossover. And again, I thought obviously that was the super duper coolest thing in the world, so I had to get that one. RoboCop. I have absolutely no interest whatsoever in RoboCop. But apparently I thought it was worth getting issue 1. I probably, again, was investing. Probably thought this would be valuable someday. So Geiger68 was more of a DC guy. So you got me by a few years. You're a little older than me, but not a lot. I also collected some DC. And I think I got some Supermans coming up, but I was definitely more of a Marvel kid. I like those comics a lot better. Rom, This is another one I can remember buying this comic. Couldn't have been, God, I can't even see when this one was. I'm sure it's early to mid 80s, but it looks like 1985. So I would have been 10 years old at the time. Um, yeah, my best friend in grade school, all through well, still my best friend now. Though we don't hang out very much because we're old. And that's what happens when you get old, get married, and have jobs. But he was all into X-Men, so he bought a ton of X-Men. I was like, Fantastic Four was like my favorite. I loved Fantastic Four. Actually found this one. This is the oldest comic I have, other than one Red Rider that my dad bought me for Christmas one year. Even though I didn't want it, he just wanted me to have it. But this is issue 99 of the Fantastic Four. But this again is when I thought I was being an investor. I had no idea who Rom was, but I found there was this little rinky-dinky gas station convenience store in the small town where I lived in rural Kentucky. And I literally found a rack of comics that was had dust on it. So I was probably a little older than actually 10, because I think this had been on the rack for several years. It had been put aside. They didn't have new comics anymore. And I went through and I bought several of what I thought were these treasures. I'd uncovered this trove of old comics, and they were selling to me for our cover price when I thought for sure they were going to be really valuable. And I don't think they are. Now, they are working on a ROM movie, so maybe this might be valuable someday. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever even actually read it. Might have to do that sometime. So Geiger still has a lot of your comics, have 11 boxes. I never had, so here's the tragedy, is when I was really young, probably 6, 7, 8 years old, my house flooded, and I did have a collection of comics back then, and they all just got wiped out. They were all ruined, and I probably only had maybe 100 comics. It wasn't like it was a huge collection, but they got wiped out, and they got ruined and thrown away. And then I started buying them again, and to this day, I can remember one of the comics I had in that original collection was the introduction of Morbius, which again, they're going to remake a movie out of. So I don't know the time frame right now, but if we did the math, figure out what issue that was of Spider-Man where Morbius was introduced, that's the time frame. And I had comics, from all the different collections around that same time. Spider-Man, one of my favorite heroes. Absolutely love Spider-Man. I have a Shazam for some reason. This is like a extra thick, I don't know what that is. She-Hulk, I got a bunch of Silver Surfer. Was never a fan of Silver Surfer, but for some reason I bought several of the issues. Looks like they started the series over, because I know I don't have actual issue 4 of Silver Surfer. So I'm guessing this was, they started again in the 80s. Look, Adam Warlock. So Geiger, same thing. Yeah, there were no comic book stores where I live. In fact, I don't think there still is it there. But yeah, it was. I think it was a Rite Aid. It was a pharmacy, and then again, I found a few convenience stores that would have a few foil cover of Silver Surfer 50. Again, I probably bought this thinking it would be worth money someday. I'm a stupid. Alrighty. Sleepwalker. I don't even know what that is. Do you know who Sleepwalker is? Oh, that bag. Oh, my OCD is acting up. So my goal was that someday, my kids would want these comics. That's the only reason why I kept them, though I didn't expect to have kids, but I do have kids now. Both my kids love to read, and yet I can't get either of them to read any of my comics. I've tried, they just aren't interested whatsoever. So I will just continue to hold on to them probably until I die, and then my kids will probably sell them for next to nothing when I do. Here we go. Now this one actually is probably worth some money. Todd McFarlane, I don't say revolutionized, but he invigorated the comic industry. At least it felt that way when I was a kid. His art style was different than anything I had ever seen. I don't like the character of Spawn, but I thought that it might be interesting, so I bought a few copies of the early issues. So I'm guessing Spawn number one's probably worth a little bit. See, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip to 8. But Spider-Man, on the other hand, I love Spider-Man. So it still has a sticker on it. I bought this comic for $9 when this came out, and again, this was probably mid '80s. The cover price was $1.75. I paid $9 for it because I thought it would be a collector's item. The reason I said that because it says new collector items issue. I don't know. I actually haven't looked up how much this is worth, but I'm guessing it's worth, $30, $40, $50. It's not near mint condition, but it's in pretty good condition. This one has been boarded. Let's see here. I want to make another stack so I don't topple those. So I got quite a few of these Spider-Mans from Todd McFarlane. Spider-Man Wolverine. Dun, 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 dun. That should. So Geiger, you mentioned Secret War stuff. Yeah, let me move my mic here. So that was actually what I started with, which is just by luck of the draw. But yeah, the first ones I started with were my Secret Wars. I have issue 8 of Secret Wars, which is where Spidey gets the new costume, which is another one that probably would be worth something, but mine issue is in pretty crappy condition. That one's not even boarded. I probably should fix that at some point in time. Let's see. So we got some more Spider-Mans. Issue 1 of Spider-Man 2099. Not boarded. Probably should fix that. Here's some that aren't even in bags. Probably just ran out. I always saw that the Spectacular Spider-Man was probably kind of like the redheaded stepchild, I guess, of the Spider-Man comics. Always seem to be the worst stories and never seem to be valuable. So that's probably why I chose not to bag those. But I don't know. I still feel dumb not having done it now. All right, we're getting into some DC stuff here. But first, one of the worst. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Super Pro? Oh my God. So there's a very brief time, basically one summer, a friend of mine was really hot and heavy into collecting NFL cards, like sports cards. And I'm dumb, so I bought a few as well. And they tried to come out with this new superhero, which was a football player, and they called him Super Pro. It was supposed to be like this NFL comic book crossover. Oh, and I bought 2 copies of the issue 1 because, again, I thought I was an investor and that these would grow someday, be worth something. I bet I couldn't even get cover price for these right now. All right. So here we are into some of my Superman. Now, I didn't collect any of the old stuff, so these are all things from the 80s. I don't have any, anything of great value. Not that I'm not too concerned about value. It'd be nice if I found like, $200,000 worth of comic books, but that's not going to happen. But I remember there was the Life and Death of Superman where he dies, and I think I have quite a few of those runs where he dies, and then there's the Reign of the Superman, and all of those came in. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, Reign of Superman, of the Superman. So this is the Cyborg one, fighting Doomsday. See, I don't even know what this is. It says Superman Man of Steel issue 1. I guess they relaunched the character again. Yeah, so there's issue 2. Iron John. Remember that really bad movie with Shaq? Like, did we just collectively forget that happened? Alrighty. So if you don't mind, John, Geiger, since you're watching, how is the stream? Is it doing okay. That's, again, the main reason I was doing this is to see if it would actually sustain, because when I tried this before, it would cut in and out. The audio was terrible and just badness all around. So yeah, let me know, how's it going. Guy Gardner. Dun, 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 dun. I'm a big sucker for, oh, thank you. I appreciate you letting me know. For time travel. So, a Superman time traveling story. That's always cool. So, time and time again, phase two, Superman through time. Here is in like the 1940s. Then he's in prehistoric times. And then that's all I have of those comics. Apparently he's dead, but that's not going to last because he's Superman. So, while I have you on here, do you like Smallville? The CW, UPN, WB Superman TV show from the early 2000s? Well, I appreciate that you've been following for a while. That makes me happy. Do you ever watch any of the Wednesday Night Live games? Oh, you hated the TV show? Oh my gosh. Oh, man, we should talk about that sometime. I mean, it is what it is. It's, the CW. It's not great. But I recently rewatched every episode in about 3 months. I went through and watched episode 1 through season 10, episode 20 something. And there are some really bad episodes. I'm talking like just stinkers. But overall, I really liked it. I had a good time with it. The Star brand, I have no idea what that is, but apparently I have a few episodes. Well, this must be part of the new universe thing because I recognize the Pit Plague. It's a new universe thing. Yep, there it is. The Return to the Pit. That's probably why I have these. Because yep, DP7. Yep. Starman. Don't remember him at all. Teen Titans. I should have liked the Teen Titans, but I never really did. I don't know why. I just never really cared for the Teen Titans that much. I like Young Justice. It's one of my absolute favorite comic cartoon series. It's amazing. Very cool. So, what do you stream when you stream stuff? Thor versus, I don't know why I'm showing it this way. This is here. Thor versus Hulk. Again, this was a very big deal back in the day. So many arguments of who would win in a fight. And again, I also remember this is a comic I haven't looked at in probably 30 years, but it has a very interesting panel where I believe it's Hulk picks up an entire train and hits Thor in the face with it. And if I remember, the caption reads something like, "We can't even come up with a sound effect for this, so you'll have to do your own." Let's see if I can find that. It's weird how certain things stick in with you. Like, it's been 30 years and I still can recall that particular moment. Let's see how well my memory is. Oh yeah, here we go. So basically, Hulk picks up a train and throws it in Thor's face. No sound effects this time. Nothing we could letter would do this one justice. Give myself an A+ there on memory. I remember that panel. Do. I always liked the Absorbing Man. I thought he was a cool character. Oh, here's another one that might be valuable in the near future. Vision and the Scarlet Witch. Now that they're going to come up with WandaVision on the Disney Plus TV shows. All right, I'm almost done with this box. Probably when I'm done here is I'll call the stream and be happy with the fact that it's working. All right. So we got some web Spider-Mans. Oh, no cover on this one. What If? I love What If. Which again, if you like the Disney Plus shows, they're going to remake a What If TV, or they're working on a What If series for the Disney Plus show that's going to be cartooned, but have the actual actors from the movies as voices, which I'm very excited about. So What If Fantastic Four had different superpowers, and then What If Fantastic Four all had the same power? And this was like a mini episode or mini issues where there's one segment where they all are invisible, they're all monsters, they're all flame people, and they're all stretchy people. What if Doctor Strange were a disciple of Dormammu? Can't say that. What if the Punisher had killed Daredevil? What if Spider-Man had kept his 6 arms? Here's like foil covered. What if Hulk had killed Wolverine? What the? Not as popular as What If, but funny nonetheless. Here we got some more Wolverines. Can't collect comics in the 80s and not have some Wolverines in your collection, huh? Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I have 3 copies of Wolverine 41 featuring Cable and Sabretooth. Again, I thought I was an investor. I thought I was making wise choices with my money. All right, that'll be fun again. Let's just see how well of an investor I was. Dun, dun, dun. So, current value is $10. So let's see, I spent $1.75 with taxes. Let's just round it up. We'll say $2. It's now worth 10, so that's what, a 500% increase. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Of course, I couldn't actually get $10 out of it, but it's nice to know. All right, we're almost done. Let's grab the last stack here. So, of course, we got more Wolverines here. Wolverine. Wonder Man. X Factor. Now, this is my sad story. Part of the reason I got these comics out recently, started looking at them, is my buddy, Brandon, who I mentioned earlier, contacted me because he'd gone through his comics, and he found that he had, I believe it's X Factor 99, which is the first appearance of Deadpool. And that comic is worth a couple $1,000s, I think. And I thought, I collected comics around those same times. Maybe I also have that issue. Turns out I don't. I have a couple issues before and a couple issues after, but I somehow missed the Deadpool boat. I did buy multiple copies of X-Force issue 1. Trading card still inside there. A couple of copies of X-Force 2. Again, I thought I was an investor. Couple issues of issue 4. Oh, to be young and stupid again. Some Young Bloods. Oh, yeah, here we go. So I have the New Mutants. That's what it is. I have the New Mutants 100. I believe New Mutants 99 is the one that has the first issue appearance of Deadpool that's worth like a ton of money. And then I have this Red Rider comic book, which is from, I believe, 1938. I have no interest in this, but my dad, when they went to the comic store to get me a Christmas present one year, saw this on the wall. I believe he paid, if I remember correctly, like $90 for this comic. It is not worth anything near that much, and I feel bad because he definitely got scammed. But I do appreciate, as a father now, wanting my kids to read my comics, even though they won't, that this is a comic he remembers from his childhood. This is a character he remembers from his childhood, and he wanted me to have it. So he's a worse investor than I am, but the sentiment holds. It's something I'm glad I have to kind of remember better times. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that will pretty much do it. So that's box number 1 of 4. I have 2 long boxes. That is one of them. But I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream off here. But Guygar68, thank you for watching, man. Well, I assume you're a dude. Maybe you're not. But thanks for watching. Thanks for interacting with me. I hope maybe I've encouraged you. If you haven't dug in your comics in a while, go dig them out. Look through them. Maybe you'll find some gems. And if not anything worth money value, maybe just the memories will be worth something. So thanks for joining me. And maybe I'll see you next time. Thanks.